Hello, and welcome to No CB, a grand strategy podcast. I'm not very good at intros, actually.
Rose, hello, and welcome to No CB, a grand strategy podcast. This is episode 89, October 6th, 2021.
Let the American do it.
Massively outclassed there.
Yeah.
Well, it's the streamer versus the artist here, so yeah, it's only natural.
I'm sure now, to intros as well.
Yeah. Notice we have our beautiful backgrounds and layout and everything if you're watching on Twitch or YouTube, because Loris emerged from the black hole and rejoined us this week.
I am.
Yeah. Whereas my background just, I don't know, it's just got lost in the void, really. It's a wee bit blurry.
You're going through a wormhole right now.
Untainted by DJ.
Well, he's in the black hole. You're traveling through a wormhole. Eventually gonna merge.
Do wormholes actually exist? Is that a thing, or is it like a I think it's just a theoretical thing, isn't it? I don't know. I didn't do physics.
I think it's theoretical.
It's theoretically possible.
Black hole really only theoretical. We only found evidence of one actually that exists only a couple of decades ago, considering we've had them theorized since Einstein in the 40s.
Yeah. A black hole just makes sense, right? It's just a huge amount.
Yeah, I mean, it was, but what I'm saying is the theory of this could exist, and then we found one.
Yeah.
There's a big gap in between it.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So it might be the same for wormholes. Who knows?
We don't know. Space is still very vast and unknown, about as unknown as the depths of the Earth's oceans. So
I would say probably more unknown, just based on scale.
Yeah. And you could read about that in Jules Verne, a man who was around in the Victorian century. Bish bash bosh, biz year, transition. Nailed it.
Wow.
There we are.
That is nailed it.
Absolutely slaughtered that one, I'm pretty sure.
But did he do any migration?
I don't know. I don't know who he is.
Jules Verne?
Jules Verne?
No, right. Yeah, no, I've heard of him.
I
don't know what he wrote.
Almost give me a heart attack there.
I don't know.
I have heard of him. I have not read his works or know anything about the details of man's life.
Oh, man.
So
great. Jules Verne.
I've only read the abridged kids versions as a kid. I never read the full adult versions. But
yeah,
he was pretty groundbreaking.
I don't know what I read, if I read the abridged or
wait, was he
version.
Journey at the Centre of the Earth?
Yeah. 2000.
Well, I watched I watched the recent Kong versus Godzilla movie, so I mean, I'm all up to date, aren't I?
Oh, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Thank you in chat. And Around the World in 8 Days, of course.
Yeah, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Around the Moon. He did a whole bunch. Most of them not even heard of.
Yeah, did he do any migrating? That's a big question.
Founding Mick, The Antarctic Mystery.
Did he migrate to the center of the Earth?
Yes, that's what happens. It's actually all these are just biographical. He actually went around the world in 8 days too.
He totally could have migrated to the center of the Earth if the center of the Earth had a high standard of living, and didn't discriminate against his culture or language.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know who really did some migrating? And character author of the time, Edgar Rice Burroughs, who wrote, Tarzan, who he's most famous for, but he also wrote the Barsoom series, which is set on Mars.
Oh.
And
I haven't read any of
this
those.
American guy he did move to Mars. He had a family. Warlord, there's a whole bunch. Disney made a movie and they completely ruined it. And they marketed it wrong because no one knew that the Barsoom books, they're the ones that inspired Star Wars and stuff. And if they had marketed it as that way, it might have done better. In other words, other people were like, it's just a Star Wars knockoff.
Yeah.
No,
Well, Star Wars is just a knockoff, arguably, of a load of things, actually, I guess.
Yeah, the first Barsoom book was written in 1912, so right here in the Victorian era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He also wrote a Venus series. Yeah. Did a lot of migrating there.
So, migration, I guess. Migration is not set by tags anymore, right? So if you played Vicky, you know that
No,
like America
yeah.
is basically anyone in the New World that's a democracy, I believe. It's like a huge bonus to the migration.
It's not only democracy. It's anything that's got basically a high standard of living and is less likely to discriminate against you. There can still be discrimination, and but it's high standard of living and migration attraction. Migration attraction is based on standard of living and things like over or underpopulation, unemployment, and available jobs. And
that's in Vicky 3 now, but like in Vicky 2, it used to be just like a flat.
Oh yeah, in Vicky 2
thing,
it was.
Right?
You have to be in the New World. Your capital. Your capital has to be in the New World.
That's right.
You could have your capital in the New World and the majority of your land in Europe, and all of your European land would get a crap ton of migrants.
Yeah,
because of the way that the game works. I saw a video of someone who he was playing as Belgium, and he managed to snag himself like probably just the island of Jamaica or something like really minor in the Caribbean, and then lost all of his European land. And then he conquered his European land back with the aid of some allies. And Belgium started getting like 20,000 migrants a month because his capital was in Jamaica, and game be like, New World Nation, mate, innit? It's not going to happen anymore.
No. It makes a lot more sense, I guess. Now.
Yeah. Migration can happen anywhere in the world if the right factors are met. Yeah, the conditions are met. One of the examples that is given in the dev diary is France getting quite a lot of migration, or Paris specifically, or Ile-de-France, getting a lot of migration from Polish cultures, probably to do with the Poland not really existing and being kind of partitioned between three large empires, none of which are particularly kind to the Polish. So the Ile-de-France was set as a migration target. So a lot of pops of Polish culture have started migrating there. So there can be multiple migration targets from both each culture, and just each country can get like a ton of migration targets. It all depends on whether that area, the state itself, meets the criteria.
Yeah, it's cool. I really like it. And then, so basically, all migration is sorted by push and pull factors, right?
Yes.
So you got the pull factor, which is tolerance and available space, etc. And then you got the push factors, I guess, which are destitution and wars, for example. So I guess like the first wave of Chinese immigration came from destitution in China, exacerbated by like the Taiping Rebellion, which is going to be really cool because in Vicky 2, basically, if you were not a civilized nation, basically you didn't have much emigration leaving your country. So basically all the Chinese immigrants that came into the game, which all went to America towards the end of the game in Vicky 2, came because China had westernized, and then suddenly immigrants came.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's anything like that now.
Well, there is turmoil, which is a way of it's produced by like radicalism, by probably something to do with war exhaustion. There's probably going to be more things that result in turmoil, but it's basically how crappy it is to live in that area. So if a place has got a lot of turmoil, they will look to go elsewhere.
Yeah, which
makes sense.
Which hopefully we'll see like in less developed nations in general. Like should be cool. You could
things
also
like famines will cause it as well.
Yeah. I mean, the classic being like the Irish famine, right? I mean, like which?
Oh yeah, an absolute classic.
The classic famine. Top 10 famines, number one.
Not the best phrase for that.
No, it's a classic.
top famine.
Top 10 famines of the world.
I mean, like,
Irish famine followed by Bengal famine.
Yeah.
No, it's classics, mate.
It's pretty bad. If you had to go by like the impact on the world, Irish famine is probably number one because obviously decimated the Irish population. But worse, it led to the creation of like Irish Americans, which, you know, have been a blight on the world for 200 years, basically. So,
hey!
Oh shit!
So that was number one, I would say.
You know, it's very funny is every time St. Patrick's Day comes around, the Irish that live in Ireland are just like perpetually looking at the back of their heads, with the amount of eye rolling that goes on with how far Irish Americans take it.
Nothing
Well, a lot of
they
people
call
who
them
celebrate
plastic
St. Patty's Day
paddies.
aren't even Irish or Irish American.
Probably, yeah. Nothing will
It's
ever
just an
beat.
excuse to get drunk.
Nothing will ever beat the St. Patrick's Day, the US military made where they were firing like shamrocks, rockets, and stuff photoshopped. It was that's amazing. Anyway, that's why you probably want to avoid the Irish famine, so that doesn't happen in 200 years.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah. But now I guess, like, since things are not predetermined to be America, right? Like, if America is treating Irish people terribly, whereas France
might not even be Ireland either. There might not be a famine.
Yeah, of course. I wonder if they.
Well, some of the part was the famine, because in the 1700s, the British wanted to bring more Protestants into Ireland, and so they got a bunch of lowlander Scots, including some of my ancestors, and sent them over to Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the leases were up, a lot of Irish people pooled their money to buy the land back or buy the leases.
Yeah.
And a lot of Scottish, like my ancestors, hopped on boats over to America.
Ah, okay.
Where they could actually own the land and not just have a lease that got yanked out of their feet after 30, 40 years, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But that also, because they had pooled their money, there were a lot more people working a lot less land.
Yeah.
Which made things even more destitute when the disease hit the potatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of factors that came together to be a very awful situation.
Yeah. I do wonder if the potato blight, because it wasn't just an island thing, I guess it affected everyone.
No, it was.
But uniquely, Ireland suffered because of a huge number of factors coming together.
Ireland was depending too much on one crop for food.
Yeah, well, there's loads of reasons.
It's because
like
potatoes are such calorie-rich based on the amount of land that is needed to grow it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you only have a small plot of land, which was quite a lot of the land in Ireland at the time.
Yeah.
For, again, multiple reasons.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everyone there was a lot of people with lots of small plots, so they all grew potatoes because that gave you the most calories and the most.
Feed your family.
Yeah, to be able to feed them, basically, yeah.
Yep.
And then, the blight hit and kind of went to shit.
Yeah, and all sorts of horrible other factors like the British government being really awful at the time, and ideologically,
British government not caring for anyone really outside of London.
Well,
true.
Yeah, and they also were like dedicated to like laissez-faire free trade, where we believe that like market forces were basically going to solve the problem, which I feel like didn't. But it was a very popular thing.
In their eyes, it started to solve a problem. I remember reading that some parts of the British Parliament saw it as a way to reduce the amount of Catholics, and then once they've starved, we'll just put the Protestants in their place.
Yeah. People forget.
They tried that
grim.
before.
Yeah, they did.
And my ancestors who were Scots Irish.
Yeah. The Scottish. The Scottish were some of the most zealots Protestants because of a different type of Protestant.
Well, not all of them were zealots.
No,
but them, they were. A lot of them were. They picked lowlanders because they were the most like English of all the Scots.
Yeah.
And a lot of them didn't have land. They were like offered, hey, instead of just working for your laird over here, why don't you come here and then you can get your own plot of land to raise your family.
That's right. Yeah. It's,
but there's a reason there's a lot of Scots in Pennsylvania. I think.
Yeah.
That's where they started.
A lot of Scots went to America because of a lot of Highland Scots too, right? Because of clearances and stuff.
Yeah, the Highland Scots came later in the 1800s, though.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, the Scots-Irish came in the 1700s when those leases ended up, and not all of them were able to buy or even wanted to renew their leases in Ireland.
Yeah.
It's a grass is always greener on the other side mentality mixed with cheap boat tickets.
Well, hopefully this also models what historically happened, because although a hell of a lot of Irish people went to America, even more went to the rest of the British Isles. So there's a hell of a lot of in-migration, I guess, which is probably going to be modelled, hopefully.
Yeah, intra-market migration is indeed a thing.
Yep.
It's the movement of pops between two states that are part of the same market.
Yep.
Pops are generally always able to move between states in the market, though the number of individuals that are able to change their homes on a weekly basis varies on factors such as the local infrastructure and market access to the two states. And I mean, that doesn't specifically say the reasons why it will happen, but again, if specifically Ireland is suffering a lot of turmoil because of food shortages, for example, then the turmoil will encourage the pops there to migrate, and they will do both intra-market migration to places like Liverpool, which has got a large Irish population, and America, which has got a lot of spare jobs.
Yeah. I mean, like famously, most of the British railways are built by Irish navvies. Big pull, I guess. Lots of jobs available.
Hey,
which is cool.
Guys, we have a deal in chat. Iowa Soman will sail us to America for 10 puns if we can make them laugh for 6 out of the 10.
He's going to pay me £10 to go to America.
No,
it'll take a lot more than that to make me want to go there.
10 puns. Is this supposed to incentivize us wanting to give puns?
I mean, keep them.
Yeah, I'm never making a pun again.
Keep your puns. Keep your pounds.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Just come. Just to visit. It's lovely. A lot of places are lovely to visit.
It's
like Florida. Florida's lovely to visit. Just don't live there. Speaking as someone who lived there for about a third of my life.
Yeah, I do want to visit America. I was talking about that with my friend the other day. Going through all
the
famous American things I wanted to see, like Taco Bell, and I wanted to see a White Castle.
Well, if you came and visited,
I want to try a Taco Bell.
I live near a Taco Bell that's in the same building as a KFC. Like the kitchen
we have
does
KFC here.
And Taco Bell.
Yeah, but do we have American KFC? You know, I want to try.
Do you want American KFC?
I want to try these American delicacies. You know, like all those things.
The only place in America I would want to visit would be Austin, Texas for the Formula One, and that's it.
No, I want to go to PAX. Let's quickly move on, because obviously Anna's not going to be happy about the length of editing.
That's true. We've had a couple more teasers for Vicky as well.
Yes.
Before we should quickly mention that there's also colonial policies that you can encourage people to go settle in your colonies, which is cool, and I hope you can get it from other colonies too. I want to see the Indians and Pakistanis going to Africa, for example, which is a big thing. Cool stuff like that. I hope you can do colonial policies. Fingers crossed. But yes, teasers. we did have one.
We had
Martins and Grugy.
We did. So we'll start with Martins, I think, which is just a quick little preview of diplomacy.
Yeah, it's the top 10 nations in the world, and of this, instead of the 8 great powers that we have in Vicky 2, it looks like in this screenshot at least there is only 7, because the top 7 all have golden borders around their flags, and then number 8, 9, 10 have silver borders.
Didn't they mention somewhere that'd be like the great powers and like secondary powers or something?
Yeah, it's a lot more fluid. I would have to go back and read the Twitch post that Leanna, not Twitch, the Reddit post.
Reddit, yes, yeah.
There we go. It will go through the sites. It's fine. That she made when Vicky was first announced. And I'm pretty sure, the great powers are a lot more fluid than they were in Vicky 2.
That's right. I remember that.
It's not just, there is going to be 8 at all times, even if number 8 is so far behind number 7 that it's kind of irrelevant. It also shows the East India Company as its own separate entity on the Great Powers list. And it's honestly kind of incredible. It just shows the absolute power that company had.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's kind of incredible.
I'd
love to know what you think. Who is the country that Martin was playing as when he took this screenshot? Who was neutral to Great Britain but amiable with the East India Company and hated the Ottomans and Spain, but was totally happy with Prussia? Like, what country is this?
I think quite possibly Persia, I would say. Persia had a lot of dealings with those and didn't quite get on with Great Britain and Russia.
Did Persia get on with
cordial with the Netherlands? They don't get along with Spain or France.
Don't get along with the Ottomans.
I mean, France being cold, that's gonna be all. That's every country in the world, mate. It's cold or worse. So that's just a given. Yeah, Persia could be a good show.
Cold till they bring out the guillotine.
We've got a thing about Japan, which would make cordial with the Netherlands make sense a lot. But I'd expect Russia to be poor if it was Japan.
Yeah, for sure. Although it would be before the Russo-Japanese War.
True.
Where relations weren't really terrible until then.
Yeah, but it's cool. I hope there's a monetary, a numerical value assigned to these relations too.
Yeah,
I assume it would be when you mouse over it. It would be.
It's a Paradox game.
Yeah,
definitely will be.
Almost certainly.
This ain't some Total War. Actually, even Total War has numerical.
Yeah, it does now.
Now, doesn't it? Yeah. But there was also a teaser from Groogy as well.
Yeah,
showing off the aforementioned Japan.
I wasn't quite sure if you covered it last week, so I included both.
Yeah. I can't remember if we did or not, but
Groogy's tweet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of Japan.
Yes.
Well, there was another one as well.
Too.
Well, the one in Japan is from the 5th, so it's yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't have covered it last week.
No, the one before too. The one of
Naples.
I think we've missed a couple of Groogies.
Yeah.
The one for Italy is just talking about the soil in and around Italy, down the Dalmatian coast, called the Terra Rossa, or red soil, which gives it an agriculture throughput, which makes sense.
Yep.
Probably there's quite a lot of vineyards there, for example, that require some pretty decent soil. And then I think the more interesting one is the one for Japan, because it has the Seto Inland Sea, which gives port building throughput and shipyards building throughput.
Yep.
And I think you could probably come up with quite a lot of different places in the world that could have a similar modifier to this.
Well, there's loads added to the game, and hopefully in the future we can get Groogy on. Like his brains a little bit.
Like once I'm thinking of this, the Trincomalee Harbour in Sri Lanka is one of the best port locations in the world. I would be very shocked if this didn't have something similar. Portsmouth, for example, is a really big one. But yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like I say, there's harbors are sheltered port areas, where your ships can be, no matter how rough the seas are, that harbor is going to be calm. That's what makes a really good harbor, and that's a natural thing, especially in this era. It's not something that you could just build on the edge of a beach.
Yeah.
So
although quays and stuff were basically big things now, but still a natural harbour is a huge boon. And it'd be good because Japan did have its own shipbuilding industry quite early on. It did lease out. It start producing its own ironclads after importing quite a few.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As much as I hate it, Newcastle's probably going to be one as well.
Newcastle, yeah, I'd be surprised if Newcastle didn't have like some coal output. Never Valleys exists, and that's going to have coal apparently.
Honestly, I feel like every state in the world could probably have something.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the thing. There's going to be loads.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, hopefully we can get Groogy on at some point. We'll pluck his brains a little bit. But yeah, you could literally think of hundreds, and it must be great fun to be the person who comes up with these. It must be great to have Groogy's job in this situation. Very
Speaking of plucking brains, what about plucking strings?
Oh, like nice.
Yeah. You see, that was pretty good.
That was a lot better than my one. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Oop. And apologies, the Rosebud just woke up, and he's not happy. He's with his Appa right now.
It's no problem.
Speaking of noises and sound effects in the background.
Wow. No, we've got 2 segues, both of which were on point.
So yeah, Rose, it's all clear to
audio.
Yes.
And how they created it for the royal court. And they talk a little bit about how they had, once restrictions loosened up, they could go back into their thing. I shouldn't be laughing. My son wakes up this way. He woke up, he was crying in his crib.
That's no problem.
Wanted to get out. He stood up.
I wake up like that.
Changed the sound. My husband went and got him, picked him up, and he started crying louder.
Yeah.
Me
every morning.
Wake up crying. Yeah. It's not really a Wednesday if you don't wake up crying.
That's right, yeah.
So they talked some sort of technical. What they did was they found the biggest room in the office, which is currently called the library, with quotations, so that they could have enough distance between people. Because you think about the courtroom, the throne room, it's going to be very loud. There's going to be distance between people. You're going to hear people murmuring from across the room.
That's right, yeah. You got to get the acoustics right?
Mm-hmm. So it feels like we're there listening. And here they use Latin for gibberish, which is interesting.
Or
likely
gibberish, as you called it.
I can't talk. Let's just remember. I said I was trying to think of the word for compliment, and I couldn't, so I said the opposite of an insult.
What you should have said, you should say just Americans say gibberish, and we would have believed you.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure there's Americans in chat, so no. But yes, they use Latin.
Just delete their messages as soon as they appear.
So they use Latin to get the murmuring in the background, because apparently that's best, and I guess it would work across all of definitely the European countries.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if they use Latin for all of the countries, because it might sound a little odd to have a Latin background if you're down in Sri Lanka or something.
Yeah. Well, I think it's specific to, because they did have a preview of it for the Western Court, so I assume it is just for the Western ones. I assume. Having the Latin.
Yeah, it says Western Hold Court on the thumbnail.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, and it looks like they had a fun time doing this. Just from the images.
Yeah.
It's a good old party.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it. It's very orchestrated. I mean, the sound design for CK is pretty great already, and the Foley stuff they've done is amazing. So hopefully they can get a good atmosphere. Very important, I think, the sound design of something. It really helps so much with the immersion.
And as Iowa whatever is in chat is pointing out, French was big in European courts. Yes, but the French that was spoken then is not the French we know today.
Yeah.
It's fairly different.
Yeah.
And then they show some of their music with all their musicians, which is kind of cool. I'm not really a musician, but it's kind of cool.
No, same. I appreciate it. I like, God knows I can make music, but man, I like a good soundtrack to a video game. It adds so much.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about it, really, for CK3. It's just going through. It's very interesting if you like sound design. It's a good little read, but yes, that's about it, really. They made some good music and some good sound design.
I had a good time.
I do remember when they were doing they showed off some of the sound design that they did for Imperator, and for specifically the doing the sounds of the boats. They had people with like empty backpacks and like crushing them to let the air out was one of the sounds that they had for
nice.
like waves.
Yeah.
It's like just random things that like you wouldn't think, oh, that sounds like this, but when put in context of looking at a ship, it's like, oh yeah, it totally fits.
I mean, Foley's just like this amazing, wonderful thing, right? I mean, like classic being like, you know, the Star Wars pew pew sound.
Yeah,
that's like tapping a long metal wire, and you get the sort of reverb, pew pew, shooting up the wire, and then they distort it a little bit, and that's it. It's amazing.
The work that people in sound effects do, it's absolutely amazing.
It is, yeah. God, I could never do it for sure.
Some sounds are just iconic as well. That are in like so many different things. Like the Wilhelm scream is in like 90% of all films ever now. Or some shit like
I hate that though, because you recognize a Wilhelm scream. I think.
Yeah.
If you include the Wilhelm scream, like I mean, it takes you out of the entire experience, right? Yeah, don't include the Wilhelm scream, please, sound designers, because we all know the Wilhelm scream. It's not an in-joke anymore. It just takes us out of the situation.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is like a cartoon.
Yeah,
cartoon, like Bugs Bunny sort of deal. And it's perfect.
It appeared in The Hobbit like hundreds of times, and The Hobbit was bad enough already. But like, you know, when you're like tumbling around Goblin City and there's a Wilhelm screen, it's like, oh well, I was out of it already because the CGI is so shit, and I'm even more out of it now because the Wilhelm scream's there. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't think of a transition to Hearts of Iron.
Well, you know, you said something that was iconic, and what's also iconic is Poland in Hoi 4.
Yes, I mean, should we
not for very long?
Yes, I guess. Well, there's an AAR dev diary, and I probably can't do it justice by explaining it here because it's basically a story. But hopefully, I've pulled out some interesting things about it. So there's a situation here where Poland is fighting Germany and Russia. Well, we're not.
Seems reasonable enough to expect that to happen.
Yep. So some of the things that the player did was sabotaged their own infrastructure and wanted to go straight for Prussia, right? So that's something you can do now. You can just sabotage your infrastructure, have Germans have supply problems as they're pushing on the western front of Poland, eastern front for Germany, and having supply issues and then holding them up the river while they're pushing into Prussia. I thought that was a cool strategic move. They gave away their land to Russia when Russia was demanding it, but before they did it, they sneakily destroyed all their infrastructure before they accepted their demand. So that's something you can do, which is quite nifty. But the most interesting thing was it delved a bit more into the tank designs at the bottom of the dev diary. So you can really specialize your tanks, and we've seen the tank designer in the past, but now we've got some like good examples of it. So they've got like a tank destroyer specifically that has a squeeze bore adapter. Don't know what that is, but I assume it's something that's good.
Squeezes bores
and adapts them, which is quite nice of it. There's a main battle tank with wet ammunition storage. So again, don't know what it is. I assume it's like a fish pond where you put your.
Well, I mean that's like
ammunition.
That makes sense because if you take a hit, you're not necessarily dead. But if it causes a fire, then that's a big danger. If your ammunition is stored in pools of water, then that's not going to catch fire. And because if your ammunition catches fire, it's fucking game over.
Yeah.
You're gone. You're dead. It's the end of story.
Are we just assuming it is just storing ammunition in water?
Honestly, I would not be surprised if it is. You've got a
if like
bin
the ammunition
where you
was
put
in
your
a
ammo.
waterproof bag or waterproof container and then in the water.
It's in like a little piece of Tupperware. You have to seal it.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's just like a bin where you put all the ammo and then you top that bin up with water.
Yeah, I'd believe it.
I'm literally not doing a bit. That
Yeah.
absolutely makes sense.
Yeah, it's true. Have a little zip bag like you keep goldfish in.
No, like a bin, like a big metal container.
Yeah. I prefer it, like individually wrapped shells.
That seems less efficient.
And potentially idiotic.
Yeah, potentially. Yes, there's an anti-air one, which is just standard. There's nothing much fancy about that. It's an anti-air tank. But there's a new one. Flamethrower tanks are another thing, which they snuck in right at the bottom of the dev diary. And if you don't know, flamethrower tanks were used in the Pacific Theatre. They are good when you're fighting in urban environments and jungle environments, I believe, and forts.
Oh my god, they were separate.
Oh, what?
I looked it up. Wet ammunition stowage consisted of a system where the main gun rounds were moved to racks on the hull floor. The rounds in each rack were surrounded by separate small containers of a mixture of water, ethylene glycol, and a rust inhibitor.
Right. Okay. So it was individually wrapped shells.
The rounds weren't actually wet, but the rounds were just separated by the small liquid containers.
Okay.
When it was less about fire safety, it was when the ammunition rack was hit, the logic was that the liquid would spill out, quenching any fires, similar to flooding the magazine on a warship.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's
like instead of the ammo being in the water, the ammo is like the racks are made out of hollow metal containers full of water.
Okay.
Yeah, it makes sense. But yeah, that's a thing you can have now, which is cool, I guess. But now we know what it is.
Yeah, there you go.
Apart from that, there's not much in it. I mean, it goes into a little bit about the supply problems they have when we're attacking into core German territory, or not so much for supply problems, the supply advantage that the Germans have, and then goes into the supply problems they have invading Russia. It's a very good little AAR, good little story. I really would recommend reading it yourself. Pretty good. And then last week's, I believe you didn't cover too, right?
Yeah.
We looked at it and they were like,
nope.
Yeah.
You just noped on out the door.
Yeah, step one, if you cut a German Shepherd in half, you get two
puppies.
What are those ones called?
I don't know. Spaniels? I don't know. I don't know dogs.
I think it's a border collie or something. No, I don't remember. I remember. Didn't you know what it was? I don't know. You cut it in half, you get two little dogs.
Oh, it was a German Shepherd and a Yorkshire Terrier.
Yeah.
Yorkies.
Yorkshire.
That's how we say it.
It's wrong though.
That's how we say it.
I'm from Yorkshire. It's not pronounced like that.
You've just been saying it wrong, Lambert.
I'm from there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, it's basically goes into changes in reinforcement. So if you're the type of sweaty player, which I'm not, which really micromanages their reinforcements, now it's a little less micromanaging. Basically, it's a bit more automated. They go into a bit more about division whips. It's very mathsy, and I've read it through a few times. I don't quite understand it. They did do like half a dev diary this week that covers a little bit about it. And again, it's very mathsy. It's about division width and this new
Somebody
thing.
Will come up with like a template that this is now the meta template. And everyone will copy that and then think that they know what happens. That's
basically what I do now. I know that it's 20 width or 40 width, multiples of 20, and apparently that's due to battle width. And I'm just going to wait until somebody tells me what I'm supposed to be doing with, with this new system. With coordination, which is a new thing that they've added. It's interesting. A bit too mathsy, a bit too meta for me to quite understand. Other stuff they've added. They fleshed out the trees of Russia a bit. So now you can interact a bit more with the breakaway states like Ukraine, and I assume like Belarus and stuff like that too. And also get more support, because apparently the monarchist playthrough was impossible for testers. They kept losing. Get a few more bonuses, but
They get good, don't they?
I do. That's it. Just get good. Portraits are added, and obviously we can't show that if it's on if you're on SoundCloud. But there's a beautiful portrait for Tsar, and an even more beautiful portrait for the Arch Patriarch, which is just a big beardy Orthodox priest, which looks wonderful. Very, very high quality portraits, in my opinion. You've got that great contrast that good Hearts of Iron portraits have, which, you got a really dark shadow and light. Is a great contrast in those portraits, which some portraits lack.
Whoever does the art for Hearts of Iron portraits is just incredibly on point.
Yeah, I mean, it's different people, and you can tell the different people because different styles, and sometimes you can tell by the quality when it comes to icons, because there's clearly a lot of different people working on icons. Portugal. I will never stop complaining about. Terrible.
Is that from the one focus tree that had a Portuguese flag? It was so.
Oh, it was so bad. So
Yeah.
And you have not shut up about it since.
No, all the icons are terrible too. Please redo them.
They don't match.
But yeah, that's
How are the icons in Russia's tree? Is there any that stand out?
Yeah. Most of them have been reused, but the new ones are very good as far as I'm concerned. Most of them appear on the new communist paths, and all of the new ones are fantastic. And then the ones on the right tend to be reused generic icons, which is fine because they're very good anyway. I don't mind that too much. But some of them are new and they're pretty cool. For example, I think the Third Rome, I think it's called. No, but True Tsars is a new one. It's very pretty looking.
I quite like the Intervention in the Americas one. That looks pretty cool.
Yeah. Let's have a gander at that one.
On the right there.
It's a bit too small for me to see, sadly, on my screen, because I got this weird setup going on. I'll take your word for it.
The screen just needs to get good, mate. Innit?
Yeah, that's true. Well, that's it basically for Hearts of Iron. Big news, obviously, big changes. If you like meta stuff, check out the maths. I don't personally quite understand it. Please let me know how it works, if we're on Twitter or the comments or something. Look at that. See, I'm doing call to action. That's how professional I am.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it's called.
Nailed
in business. Yeah, there we are. Could please comment, like, subscribe, tell me what maths is. I don't know.
Ding the bell.
We did have something interesting from Solaris.
Yeah, Solaris. We have a little more of an update about the custodians, because the LEM update, which was free, came out 2 weeks ago. I believe we talked about all those dev diaries, and here they're just sort of talking about their plans for the future. They do plan to do a free patch every 3 months. Sometimes it'll come out with the DLC, sometimes it'll just be by itself. And the next one is scheduled for late November, so we got about 2 months.
For those of you who don't remember what Custodians is, it's basically a group of devs that are, instead of working on new content, are doing bug fixes and going over older content and bringing it up to the standard of the current game.
Yeah, they're fluffing it up a little bit. They're the fluffers. That's what, yeah.
And that's not just, it's meaningful fluff. It's like your couch is sort of depleted and you need to add more stuffing to it.
Yeah.
Like,
they're fluffing up the couch for the Solaris fluffers.
Because I would say the stuff they added with the LEM update was not pure fluff. But what they're working on for November, it's less ambitious. They're planning to focus more on safe improvements, such as improving the AI.
Yeah.
We'll get more details next week. And then the next one after that will be February, which will be a less safe update.
Yeah.
That one will be working on Unity and Sprawl because, as they mentioned in Dev Diary 215, they're not happy with how Empire Sprawl works.
Yeah,
and stuff.
It's
and
just,
admin capacity. And
I think the most interesting thing about this is, like, you know, 3 months, every 3 months we get an update, which is, I think, is the fastest turnaround for updates for any Paradox game, right?
Yes.
It's pretty great.
And really, if you think about it, Lem came out 2 weeks ago. They're planning for end of November. That's 2 months from now. That's 2.5 months.
I mean, this seems to be like a model that works for a lot of games. Sea of Thieves does this sort of thing too. Maybe we'll get seasons, you know? First season of Stellaris, season 2. Game Pass.
No.
Hey, it's on Game Pass, actually, isn't it?
It is on Game Pass.
Yeah.
It is on Game Pass, but you can still buy the game.
There's that's it as well. Isn't something we should talk about for EU4 is it's recently gone to Epic Game Store as well for free.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know if it has all of the DLCs on Epic. If it does, then that's actually it is still Epic. But no, I think it's probably still worth it.
It's a free game. I mean,
but I have a few free games on Epic, and I still don't.
Also.
I've bought one game on Epic, and that was Ancestors, the Humankind, the first ancestor, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So good. I'm so glad I didn't wait to Steam to play it. But, yeah, so many free games.
Yeah, nothing's really tempted me into it with Epic yet.
I got Old World on Epic.
Oh yeah, I have Old World on there. It was kind of a free game. The developers gave it to me. But
yeah, I've never bought anything off Epic.
I mean, it's a good way of like selling a platform, right? Because Origin did the same. They basically started giving out free games. I mean, I was like a complete convert when they gave me what's it called? Hospital Tycoon. like a 20-year-old game. No.
I got
not the new one.
No, the old one. I was like, oh man, I hate Origin. When they gave me a game that's retail value £2, I was like, I'm sold.
There's games on here I want to play, but I never have. There's The Long Dark I got for free. Subnautica, the Lego Batman.
Subnautica's pretty good.
I have Carcassonne, which is a great board game, by the way. I also have that on my.
Yeah, I would like to play that at some point.
It's really fun.
It's a fun board game. Little meeples. I never played it like an online version.
I've played it. The app is pretty good. Honestly, and you can, since you can pass and play with someone if you want, or if they have it on their phone.
Oh yeah. That'd be great. I would have loved that in school. I remember like taking my Nintendo, like Game Boy, and then later the game like Nintendo DS, and playing Advance Wars at school and doing a pass around of playing Advance Wars. That was great.
I just found E4 on the Epic Store and I just had a look at it. Their description, main features. The second bullet point on their main features: use your monarch power. Experience the new system of monarch power.
Well, that's to mention right now, guys. EU4 is free on Epic right now until tomorrow.
Yeah.
Welcome to 5 minutes ago, but yes.
Did you say it was free? I thought you
yeah. It's free.
Yeah, no, I was talking about EU4.
No, Hoy's not free. Not by no.
Yeah.
But yeah, because it's a great game. It's worth getting for free, and it's like
it doesn't include the DLCs.
Doesn't include the DLC.
No,
but if you just wanted to play multiplayer with someone,
exactly, because it's a good multiplayer game, and also yes, it's cross-compatible. You do have to use this Namaka multiplayer. Nakama, yeah, which I've yet to get to work.
Though, if you do want the DLCs, all the DLCs are 50% off.
Yeah.
Other than
if you were only going to buy 2 DLCs, guys, which ones would you say?
Art of War and common sense is no longer like an absolute need. Honestly, it depends where you're going to play. If you're going to play in India, then Dharma.
Yeah, Britain.
If you want to play in the new, not the new world. If you want to play in like Asia, then you want Mandate of Heaven.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Right of Man wasn't a bad one.
Because it's hard to say because I don't really
good, though.
know what's free now. Because I would have said Cossacks, but now obviously estates are free. So I don't know. I don't actually know what each DLC includes anymore. Which I think is a problem that U4 has.
And could you play Anbanar without the DLCs?
Yeah.
Yes, but there are some that you kind of still gonna want.
Okay, so which ones do you want for Anbanar?
Honestly, I'd still say Art of War, because without Art of War, you can't ask for support to like break free from an overlord. Like if you're Sweden and you don't have Art of War, you're kind of fucked.
Yeah.
I
didn't know that was a feature, to be honest. Yeah. From like a purely gameplay, probably Emperor, I would say. Very, very good DLC.
Emperor was good.
Great stuff with the HRE stuff.
I quite like Rule Britannia.
I like Rule Britannia too.
Of course you guys do.
I also like the Russia one. Is it Third Rome?
Yeah, I did not like that one.
Yeah, it's a good thing for Russia.
Third Rome was just...
I don't mind it. I like all those little flavoury things. Yeah.
I think Dharma's probably the DLC that I thought, yeah, this DLC was great.
I've never played in India, actually. Even when I got Dharma, I didn't play in India. I played somebody in Conquered India. Should do like a man.
Like, let me get Dharma just so I can conquer India.
Yeah, because it added like some flavour to when you're conquering it, which was interesting. Yeah, I did it as the Dutch first. It was pretty.
Speaking of conquering and stuff, do we have anything new, or should we be wrapping this up, folks?
Yeah, I mean, we've covered the dev diaries. Is there any new news elsewhere that you lot know about?
No.
So what have you been up to, Father Lars?
I went to a wedding for the weekend and drank a lot over a course of a few days, and recovering. Feel a lot better now. It's slowly killed half my brain.
As you do.
Yeah. So I did a tiny bit of work today, not much, but I am redoing some of the website, making it a lot better.
I saw that some of your art was on the thumbnail for the latest tutorial for EU4 that Paradox put out. That's
right. Mordred made a really good tutorial on EU4 to coincide with a free release with EU4 on the Epic Store, and it's a very, very good tutorial. So go check that out, especially if you're an early player just starting, or if you're do what I do and are basically a drug pusher for Paradox, and you're pushing these games onto your friends. It's a good video to link them.
That's a great way of putting it. Probably not, but sure.
Well, yeah, there's an art to it, because I think I've got most of my friends into it. Like, sometimes you don't jump in with EU4. You jump in with like Crusader Kings or something. It's got characters. Maybe you push them with Solaris too. So you really get them hooked on like, a little bit of crack.
A game that spans centuries.
Yeah. And then slowly introduce the harder drugs, basically.
So you're saying that CK is a gateway drug?
It is, yeah. It's a gateway drug to basically spreadsheets until you get to like Hearts of Iron or something. Where
until you get to either Hoi 3 or Vicky 2.
That's right.
That's your heroin.
When you're starting to like, probably getting interventions by your family and friends, it's when you're playing the older Paradox games, because it's not not hardcore enough for you.
I think Agamade's labeled it correctly in chat. Influencer equals tired. Drug pusher equals wired.
Oh, it's a good job that context is a thing.
like I'm just trying to get us like some sort of like sponsorship. So hopefully, if you've got if you've got heroin
farmer,
yeah, if you're a Colombian drug baron and you've got cocaine to press, we're here for you. We're here for you, basically.
Father Loris does not speak for us. He just draws the art.
Do you own a cartel?
Moving on.
You said you killed half
Lambert, what have you been up to?
I have been doing things. I recently got 3 more achievements on Imperator. I don't have too many left to go. I finished that stream as Armenia earlier this morning. I stream some D&D every Monday. We were just talking about Mordred Viking. He plays in that game as well, and Midgeman, the DM, is fantastic. So you should watch that.
Is this component cast?
Component cast, yeah. I'm loving it, and love me some D&D.
D&D is great.
Play Imperator Rome multiplayer every Thursday, and then just other do other things randomly throughout the week. Yeah.
What about yourself, Rose? What are you up to?
Stardew Valley, and because of Mordred, I have fallen into the medieval dynasty rabbit hole.
Medieval dynasty.
It's a survival game, except you're building up your settlement in a medieval valley. You literally start with nothing. You gather twigs and stones to build yourself a stone axe.
Minecraft meets Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Oh, interesting.
Meets Banished.
Okay. But you actually do have to get married and have an heir, because your person does get older and eventually die. And then you play as the heir.
This sounds called Dynasty. Pretty good. I'm going to look this up as soon as this podcast ends, because that sounds like my cup of tea.
I streamed it last night. I'll stream it tomorrow night again. Tonight I'm doing Stardew Valley multiplayer. But yeah.
Very good.
And this is what that's what I would have been playing during the Rosebud's nap if we didn't have the podcast.
It's a very good game. I love Stardew. Have you tried Timberborn yet?
No, I have not tried Timberborn yet.
I've heard only good things, though.
It's fantastic. I can't wait for that game to update.
You know what I've been doing a lot of recently? Watching Age of Empires videos.
Oh, yeah.
People's videos of the early access beta thing for Age of Empires 4. I'm gonna do a lot of Age of Empires 4 when that game comes out. But I've also been watching a lot of Age of Empires 3, a game I just did not enjoy whatsoever. I've watched now more videos of that than I've played.
Yeah. If you could watch someone doing the story in that game, the story is so good in Age of Empires 3.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of gameplay when I played it again, and I didn't like it. With Age of Empires 3. I gotta try Age of Empires 4 though.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I played a couple of matches during the stress test.
Is it out soon?
28th, I want to say, of October.
Okay.
So right before Halloween.
Yeah.
It's for spooky launch. Oh, speaking of... well, actually, it's not related to this.
Speaking of Halloween, I'm probably going to have to wear a bloody Halloween costume for D&D on the Halloween episode.
Yeah. Are you two going to wear
a bloody Halloween costume in an age?
Halloween costume for a podcast, or... I don't have to because I already look like.
I'll reset. I'll try and find a background that has
spooky background.
Spooky background, yeah. That'll be it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And with that thought of seeing us all in costumes, I think we're gonna say good night.
And no, we can't say Happy Halloween yet.
Nope.
No, it's
Happy October.
It's Spooktober or some shit.
Yes, like Happy Spooktober. Spoopy day, spoopy year, spoopy month, something.
Go follow the No CB Cast on YouTube and also on Spotify and SoundCloud, and hit the follow button here and all of the things.
And all of the things will be updated. Leanna is just utterly swamped.
Yeah, work is hefty for her.
There's a reason she's not been with us the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Work has become a black hole that is just not releasing her.
Hopefully, we'll have her back soon, though.
Yeah.
She's much better at intros.
Hey, I think I do a pretty
Yeah,
good
yeah.
job.
Roast is a good
She's
job.
much better at keeping us from going an hour and a half long tangents.
We've done an hour episode today.
Yeah, we should probably end before it goes long.
Oh, yeah. I said almost on the hour exactly. Well,
Yes.
have a lovely evening or day, wherever you're listening to. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Toodles.